Hey guys, in this video we're gonna go over GameZone from TryHackMe. As you can see, I already went ahead and scanned the bags. We have SSH, and then we have a web server running in port 80. So what we can do is we can check to see what do we have going on in port 80. Let's go to 7.2.93. Okay, so we have a game zone with a cartoon, and then we have a login page. So we can try our default login as admin to see if we can get in. That didn't work. So whenever we have like a login page, we can always try to test for SQL injection. So to do that, we can try this command, or 1 = 1 dash space dash, and we can leave the password page blank. That will check for SQL injection. If there's a SQL injection, we'll get an error, or most likely we'll log in. So let's try that and see. There we go. So we got redirected to a portal.php site. So that means this is vulnerable to SQL injection. Another thing we can do is we can use a tool such as sqlmap to to enumerate or to investigate the server. So sqlmap it's like a automatic SQL injection and database takeover tool. So what it will do is with sqlmap, it will automate the whole process for us and check like the different type of SQL injection. So before we can do that, we can use burp. So we can use burp to intercept a request, and then with that request we intercept, we can go ahead and use sqlmap to get information such as like the database and dump everything that we need. So let's go ahead and start sql burp and turn it on. So we're going to turn burp on here. So for burp to work, or for SQL injection, we can try to put anything here. Let's try to do search, for example, and search. That will send it to burp. And here, as you guys can see, we have a search item. So with this, we can save this. We can right click on the request and then copy to file, and then we can save it. Let's name it as GameZone.txt, and then we're going to save this. So now we have this file saved. Let's double check here if we have here. So we have this here save. Now we can use sqlmap to get the database information. So let's see, sqlmap -or the file GameZone.txt, and then let's check what database we have running. So we use the --current -db to retrieve the database information. So here it tells us like the backend database is MySQL. Do we want to skip this? Yeah, we can skip it since we already know what the database is. Do we want to include all tests for MySQL? Yes, let's test. Let's run all the tests for MySQL. Now the sqlmap we try to retrieve first, like what's the current database that the database list that's running. So it tells us that this parameter right here, there's such item parameter. This is vulnerable. So we know that's what we're testing for. So we don't need to test for others. We can just say no. And there we go. So here it tells us the current database. It's DB. So now we can go ahead and use sqlmap to dump to dump the database since we know what it is. So let's use sqlmap. Um, dash or let's use the, and then we know the database now. It's MySQL, and then we're going to dump. So what this will do is it will dump everything that is in the database. No, we don't need to store. No, we don't need to crack. Okay, so here we have found the database DB, and then there's a table users, and we got that's the password hash and the username agent 47. Let's see if we have any other table. Yeah, we have another table post. Nothing in here. Okay, so here we needed. Now we have a password. We have a password hash and a username. What we can do is we can copy the hash, and then we can try to use a tool such as John the Ripper to crack the hash. But first, we can use hash identifier to see if we can um, verify what's the hash type. Here we can see it is SHA-256. Okay, I guess that's good enough. Now let's save that hash. Okay, so now we have this save. Let's see. Now we can use John the Ripper to crack the hash. So John #60, and then we're gonna use walk word list, and then we know the hash it is SHA-256. No password hash left to crack. Okay, so let's create another file and save this. Okay, so now let's go back again and use this. SHA-256. Okay, so we're able to get the password. There we go. So now we got the password for agent 47. So we can copy this, and now that we know the password, we can go back and we can try to we can log in. We can SSH to the backs now. So let's try to SSH as agent 47. Yes, and then we have the password. There we go. So now we can log in, and that's our user.txt flag. So now that we're logged in, we can, to get to root, for one of the things we can do is we can try to see what services that's running as sudo. So agent 47 cannot run any sudo, any user as root. So we can investigate more and see if there is any sockets or what sockets that's running on the host. So we can use ss dash tulpn to see what socket that's running. So T is for TCP, display the TCP sockets. U is for display UDP sockets. L is listening only. And then we got P, which is like showing the process, and then N, the user service name. So here we can see that we have like 5 TCP sockets running and then 2 UDP. And we can see there is something running on port 10,000. It's mostly a web server that's running on port 10,000. So what we can do is to access the port server locally on our machine, we can create a reverse SSH port forwarding on port 10,000, and we can try to access that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open a new tab here, and we're gonna go to SSH L. We're going to create a port forwarding in port 10,000 and localhost agent 47 at. Okay, so now we have a reverse port forwarding running on localhost 10,000. So now if we navigate to this, we should be able to access. Let's turn burp off. Okay, so now if we go here, we should be able to log in and see the localhost. There we go. So there's a webmain portal running on localhost. Now we can try using agent 47 and see if there's a password we use here. Let's copy this again. There we go. So there's a password we use, and we are able to log in to webmain. So we can see the system name, and then we can see the webmain version. So now what we can do is we can do a search plot, search exploit, and see if this is vulnerable. The AD. There we go. So there is remote code execution and metasploit. So we can use MSF console. We can use metasploit to see if we can get root on this device. So let's go ahead and do that. Come on. We can close this. Okay, so now let's search. Search for webman 1.5.1.580. Here we can see this is excellent, and we can get remote code execution on the backs. So let's use 0, and let's see the options. Okay, so we can set password since we know the password. This is an authenticated attack. So, and then we can use the ROS is locals. We already have the port set. Let's use username agent 47. Okay. So now we have all the options set. We need to use a payload. Let's see the payloads. Show payloads. We can use reverse. Let's use 6. I'm going to set payload 6. Let's look at options again. Okay, so we need to set LOs to tone 0. Let's look at options. So we have password, we have ROs, we have our port, and we have username. So now we can use 1 to run the command. It failed. Open SSL error. Let's look at the options. SSL is set to true. Let's change that to false. See, since we are not using SSL here, so I guess that's why it failed. So if we check options again, SSL is false, and let's try it now. It's looking better. Okay, so we have 2 sessions created in the background. Let's check to see what we have. Sessions. Okay, so we have 2 sessions. Let's use sessions 2. And look like we have a shell. Let's see. Yep, we do have a broken shell as root. We can try to use a Python shell. Let's try to get a Python shell on the backs. Let's use this one. Let's copy this. That way we can have a normal shell. There we go. So now we have a shell. We can see our point working directory, and let's get to home, and let's go to the root directory. There we go, and we get that root flag. That's it for this box, guys. Thank you.